welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Welcome back to my channel, McKenna Loves Gymnastics. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Welcome back to my channel, McKenna Loves Gymnastics. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Welcome back to my channel, McKenna Loves Gymnastics. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Welcome back to my channel, McKenna Loves Gymnastics. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Welcome back to my channel, McKenna Loves Gymnastics. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Welcome back to my channel, McKenna Loves Gymnastics. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Welcome back to my channel, McKenna Loves Gymnastics. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Welcome back to my channel, McKenna Loves Gymnastics.
Hello.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this very special episode of the Love Gymnastics podcast. Today we have a very special guest. We have Coach Don, and this is going to be a fun interview, I think.
I think so too. I'm just excited. I'm used to watching you, so speaking to you is such an honor.
No, it's an honor to have you on the show today. So, before we even start, I want you to introduce yourself to the audience. Let them know who you are and what you do.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Coach Don. I am a gymnastics level 5, level 6 coach with Osaka Dream Academy and Ninja Warrior Training Academy. And I've been coaching for about 8 years now, and absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
With coaching, have you found it difficult being a Black man in typically a young girl's atmosphere? Do people look at you weird? Like, why are you here? Do they expect all the coaches to be women?
Honestly, not at all.
Oh wow, okay.
Not for me, not at all. It's odd because I got into it very late. I didn't start coaching until I was 39. I've always been a fan ever since Dominic Dawes flipped across my screen in 1991. And I just loved it so much, but I never knew I could pursue it until some life changes came about. And I said, I'm changing careers. What would I want to do that would bring me joy and make me feel fulfilled? And so that's how I got into coaching. I just took a chance and applied and told the owner I would love to learn how to coach. And she said, well, I'll teach you. And that was at First in Flight in North Carolina. Thanks, Tracy. What's up? Shout out. And it changed my life. I started coaching, and I think for me, it hasn't been an issue because people can see how much I love it.
Okay.
And what you think would how people would feel about me coaching is how I actually felt at first. Like I'm a big guy too, so this big black guy come out of nowhere and keep teaching all these young little white girls, especially when I first started, those little white girls, and I thought it was going to be awkward, but I was highly supported from the very beginning. Parents were very supportive. They saw that I loved the kids. We had a good time. And especially since I was so new, so I was really trying to learn, so they would see me with all the other coaches and bouncing back and forth. So I can honestly say I've never had really any kind of issue with that since I started.
Oh, that's such a blessing. That's so good to hear because I hear a lot of the men, like especially black male coaches or whatever, especially at first. You know, once the parents get used to them, it's cool. But at first, it's like, why is he here? Like they expect. I don't know what they expect per se, but I also heard when another black parent finally gets a child, they're excited to see another black person.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. And when they would come in, a lot of time I would be the only black male figure they had in their lives. So I would be juggling Coach Don and teaching them life lessons that didn't need to come from me. And so that happened a lot. Like I still keep in touch with a lot of the young ladies I coached when I first started 8 years ago that are graduating high school now. And the parents, we still keep in touch. They become like my kids too. Like I'm really attached to those kids. And so I felt like I had a dual role. Yes, I'm here to teach you gymnastics and a love for it and to teach you the technique and have fun. But there's some things we have to learn growing up. That we have to learn some etiquette. We got to learn some of us had to learn manners. That was big. So I became Uncle Don, Coach Don, and father figure to a lot of young ladies. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take it one step further back. How did your love of gymnastics even start?
Oh man, it started in 1991. I was at dinner at one of my family's house. We were all together, and you know I'm nosy, so I'm trying to hang out with the adults. And they put me out the kitchen, pushing me away from the card table. And I come into the living room, and there's a little black girl flipping across the screen. And I just froze. I think I actually froze in my step, and I just watched. And it was Dominic Dawes. I think it was like her first televised competition. I think it was like U.S. against Japan or somewhere. I was very young, so my memory is a little shaky. But I just watched her, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" But back then, there was no YouTube, so you had to catch up. And you know, I was a kid, so I didn't know it was only during the summertime, and so I would just every Saturday I would just hit after cartoons go off. I would keep my eye on the TV, and I would get lucky. And I started figuring out it was during the summer, so I would keep my eye out. And I was always looking for Dominique. She just ignited the fire in me. And I recorded on VHS. Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. I was telling the kids this the other day. I was telling the kids this the other day, baby, because my co-host Oscar was like, back in the 90s, how did y'all used to watch gymnastics? And I was like, we used to have these little books that used to come in the mail with like a TV guide, and for the month, it would tell you what events was supposed to happen on TV, what day, right? So I would flip the TV guide every weekend. And like once, maybe every 4 months, I would get so lucky because I would be prepared that a gymnastics meet was actually on the schedule that I could actually sit there.
And nothing else mattered.
Nothing else mattered. And trust me, that day when gymnastics would come on, that VHS would be right there. Nothing else. I would not be bothered.
My family was well trained. They knew not to bother me. If it was on, don't bother me. Do not bother me because I would turn into a demon, and then I would watch.
It probably was more. It was for me. It was worse after because like for 2 weeks I would just be sitting there on that VHS, just wearing it out. Just
and then when something happened to it, oh, my tape got caught in there. Oh my gosh! Talk about anxiety and stress trying to pull it out so it wouldn't tangle up, wouldn't tear. One time one of my VHS tapes tore, and I was a mess for like a whole month.
Oh, God. Okay. Have one of your family members ever recorded over your gymnastics meet?
Ooh, I'm not gonna say her name because she knows I will never forget that. Never. I'm gonna call her after this interview and say, "Remember that time you recorded grandma's stories over my gymnastics?" Oh my gosh, that was trauma. That was like, we're not gonna talk again to the next holiday. You'd be lucky if I speak to you on Thanksgiving. Man, people don't know how easy they have it now. Oh my God, stress. Ooh, I'm gonna start sweating thinking about it now. Oh, it was horrible.
It was serious, baby. Only real gymnastics fans from the old school understands how serious those VHS tapes were.
For real. Absolutely.
I wish somebody would, because back then we didn't think how valuable that stuff was. But I wish I would have had that, still had that collection. Because that stuff would probably be worth money right now.
Like the memories, the nostalgia, the footage that people don't have. Oh man, like they look like random competitions.
Because even on YouTube, they have most, but they don't have everything. Because there are still meets that I remember in my mind that I still can't find on YouTube
at all. Not on YouTube, exactly. Yep, for real. I'm still looking for some videos of Kelly Davis, and I couldn't find her anywhere.
Yeah.
I remember she had a great beam routine. I was like, I want to see this beam routine, and I cannot find Kelly Davis at all. Yeah. Look at that. That's awesome.
For me personally, it started in '92 again with Dominique Dawes watching the Olympics. I didn't know what the Olympics were. I'm just looking at stuff happening. And then I saw this beautiful little black girl do this flirt society routine, and it just stuck. Then I became obsessed, and I just wanted to know everything else about gymnastics like that.
Mm-hmm. What was funny about that is in high school, I had to do a report, and I wrote a report on Dominique Dawes being the first Black African American young lady to win the national championships, not knowing I was incorrect. Nobody knew, so I was like blowing their minds. Oh, she's amazing! She's the first one. I'm like, yeah, she's the first one. So when I found out about Diane, I was like, oh my gosh! Like, how did I not know this? How did I not know this? So yeah, Dominique, she's a very important figure in my gymnastics life. So much so that I wound up working at Heels for I worked there for about 5 months in DC. Dominique wasn't there at the time. She would come like do privates on Sundays, so I didn't really get to see her. But I got to work with Kelly, and Kelly gave me my first coaching job. Yeah.
What was that like?
Oh man, Kelly is funny. We see them on TV. We don't see much of the coaches' personalities. We see the gymnasts. Kelly was a lot of fun. She talks a lot of smack, but I just messaged her and I wanted to come up to the gym, and she was like, "Were you interested in coaching?" So she was actually my first job, but I didn't really. She put me. I was teaching rec for her, so I wasn't absorbing. Like I didn't really know. I'm a self-taught tumbler, so I was just teaching them things I knew. So I didn't get to work with her. So I only worked for like 4 or 5 months. So I didn't really get to absorb anything. And then transportation, because I lived in DC at the time, and DC from there is a great distance. Then my car went out, so getting there was like an hour and a half travel on train and a bus, and I couldn't get back, so I had to stop working there. But I was so glad just to be in the facility where Dominique Dawes trained. I was so honored to go there every week I went, and I hate I didn't get to see her, but she was doing so much at that time, and it was such an honor. And it was just meeting Kelly and seeing who she is was an honor too. She was a lot of fun. She was fun. Yeah.
Well, I have to ask a follow-up question. So over the years, Kelly Hill has kind of been vilified a little bit in the public eye. Even without getting into too many details, I don't want it to be too heavy. Even Dominique Dawes has said some things.
Yeah, she has.
So, as a coach yourself, and as somebody who probably look up to Kelly Hill as a coach. How do you feel about the vilification of the coaches of yesteryear? Like,
it's heartbreaking, especially when you know the person personally. But I have to understand that, you know, coaching back then was a lot different than it is now. I never witnessed any of that. She could be stern, but she, you know, she had a great sense of humor, but she wanted results. And so I didn't really witness anything on that stand, on that issue. But, you know, coaching was so different. Like, it's hard because it's unacceptable, especially when it comes to children. And, you know, times have changed. It's hard because I see when Dominique Dawes talks about it, I'm just like, wow, we would have never known. We would have never known, because we would compare that to how other coaches were talked about. And so to hear about it later is like, okay, well, we didn't see that, and I hate that happened. But y'all created so much magic together, and that's what we really try to hold on to. But it's disheartening, but I'm just glad that it's gotten better.
Me too.
Yeah,
that's a great way of putting it. Now, I don't want to put you out there like that, but you on my show, you watch my show, so you know how I am. Well, I'm assuming a lot right here, so I'm going to ask, because I asked everybody. Are you a part of the LGBTQ community?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. I thought so. So I had a whole series of questions on this.
And that may be going back to the first question you asked about my experiences. I don't broadcast. I am who I am. And I think people can tell. And so I think a lot of people feel safer because of that. Yeah. Yeah, I think that I feel like that may be it's disarming for people. But they feel, okay, so my child might be safer. I don't really cut up like some coaches do. The kids don't know, but I think the parents do. So I think that makes it a little bit easier for me.
And that was going to be my question. Do you feel like, as a gay man, as a coach of, you know, little girls, do you feel like once parents realize, oh, he's gay, it's like a comfort level? Because I think a lot of the times when it comes to queer people in like those spaces of like cheerleading coaching and dance coaching and gymnastics coaching, actually the parents like it when gays and LGBTQ lead those organizations because they feel safer.
They do. Yeah, I believe so. It's almost like they just come in saying, you know, they love this sport. They're artistic. That's what they love. So they want to help our children. This is not some man coming in to try to find a way to take advantage of our kids. That's definitely, I come from a rough childhood. So I'm highly protective over children. Highly protective. So parents don't realize how safe their kids are with me. They really don't. Like, I don't have any children, but I have about 50 children. You understand? So I think for a lot of parents, it gives them a little comfort. It may be a little different if little boys are involved. I don't coach boys, so that makes me feel secure in my position. I know I will have no issue with coaching boys, but just for the sake of the environment, it's best that I stay with girls. Just because, you know, it only takes one ignorant person to think the worst that can ruin a person's reputation and career. Yeah, so I stay with the young ladies. And if I don't do cheer, but if I did cheer, you know, that'd be a different situation. But what's best for me is me working with young ladies. I want to be a girls coach anyway. That's my favorite sport. Men's gymnastics is beautiful and powerful and awe-inspiring. That's not my wheelhouse, but I'm a supporter of the sport.
And I just think it's, you know, like innate that, you know, a lot of queer people, men and women, are just more artistic. So we tend to gear towards the artistic sport. And I think, have you ever had, I know you said you never had discrimination because you were Black, but I know gymnastics is very conservative. Have you ever had any issues because you were gay?
Not because I was gay, but one parent thought I was racist. And I found out by accident. Absolutely. And me and their daughter had a great relationship. And but her parents became Facebook friends of mine, and this was during the first during the Trump and Biden election. And I post a lot. I've gotten into politics, so I post a lot on my Facebook. And because I was so Democrat at the time, my parents thought I was racist, and it was just amazing because I had just seen them the day before. He came, gave me a hug, dapped me up. He loved the work I do with his daughter, all that. And then I found my boss's notepad. She had written down that I need to speak to him about a parent feels like he may be racist and he's concerned about how his daughter may be getting treated. So I'm thinking it's about another coach that worked there. So I was like, I found this on the floor. You might need this. She was like, oh, well, since you found it, let's go talk. And I was like, okay. So she said, yeah, the dad told me that he thinks that you're racist, so he's concerned about how you do. And I was like, hold up, he just gave me a gap like yesterday. I do privates with his daughter. Like I was blown. I was so blown. I was like, if a person only thinks that you are just your politics, then I can see how you would think that. But you ask your daughter our relationship, and that should confirm that there's no racism there.
Wow. I'm so sorry I was talking too much.
That's okay.
So when Trump, a lot of people both go rounds with Trump now. Actually, dang, it's been like so long since Trump has been a politician and not just a celebrity. It's been crazy, but
yeah,
a lot of things have changed with a lot of people, and people just instantly started to change. Did you experience that in gymnastics? Like, were people that you never had a problem with all of a sudden had a problem with you for no reason?
No. Not to where it was we were friends and it reversed. But what was one of my favorite parts of this journey as a coach that I have is my coaching partner. Hey, Nikki. I love you, Nikki. I was paired up with a Southern Belle Republican Trump supporter, and we became coaching partners. And I was pretty much put with her to be mentored in becoming a team coach. And I was like, oh my gosh, we are going to clash. We're absolutely going to clash. And there were instances where we bumped heads. There were different views. She wasn't really used to dealing with young black girls, so that's why I really came in. I became like a buffer between her. But when I tell you, me and that woman, that is my coaching wife. To this day, we haven't coached together in almost 5 years, but we still keep in touch to this day. That she is my family. We are true examples of you can have two different points of view, but when you come together, we won Coach of the Year together in 2021 for AAU. And it's because our love and our friendship grew way past our political views. And we worked magic with kids that came in and didn't even know if they loved the sport. They just were young kids whose parents wanted to put them in something. We made them national champions. And I love that woman to death. She is my heart. And we still keep in touch. Her family is my family. I watched her son grow up. So it was actually reversed. I came from how is this going to work to I couldn't imagine how it could. There are people online, of course. I have Facebook friends. That's a whole different story. But I don't take it to heart. That's just our opinion. I love people for who they are. I'd rather know how you feel. I'd rather know where you are. Because until life affects you, that's where you are. This is how life affects me. I'm a lover regardless. And we're going to have to make this thing work no matter who's in office.
Absolutely. Now let's change subjects a little bit. Let's talk about coaching itself, because I think the last time I talked to you on Twitter, you was like you were getting ready for nationals. So
yes, we have nationals next weekend.
Let's talk about what it's like to prepare an athlete for a championship as a coach. What does it take from your point of view? Because we see what it takes from the gymnast point of view, but from a coach's point of view, what does it take?
From my experience, getting ready for nationals is thrilling, exciting, and highly stressful, especially depending on the age group you have. My age group ranges from 9 to 14. So and we've had an undefeated season. But when you have that age group, something happens where they'll win all around after all around, team title after team title, and then they come to practice, and all of a sudden they have all this doubt. So the problem becomes it's not even about the skills. They have the skills. It's the matter of, can y'all stop telling each other how bad you are? Like, can you? Okay, you fell off the beam this one time. You just nailed 5 routines. It's keeping them. It's blocking the TikTok out of them is what I say, because they it's this community where they bond. It's like they trauma bond. Oh God, I'm horrible. Oh, I'm horrible too. I failed last week. They forget they left a competition the weekend before where they swept all the events and half of them went all around. But on this day, because one person failed, then all of them are falling, and then they start stressing about. But we won the nationals, and I'm horrible. I'm not ready. I'm like, girl, you just had the highest all around score in the region. Like, so it's not even the technical aspect of it. It's just getting them to remember how great they are. Keep them uplifted. Don't let them pull you out of character, because when they get frustrated with themselves, they attack you. And I'm a fun coach, so I lead with laughter and I lead with love. And some kids sometimes don't know. Kids, not sometimes, the majority of the time, children don't know how to not cross that line. I joke with you because they're supposed to be fun. We got to have a good time, but they don't know how to cut it off. Now they're in their feelings. They're going to talk to you the same way they talk to their friends. So it's a balance of keeping them motivated, keeping them encouraged, reminding them of their greatness, and then not taking their verbal attacks personally. I wear a headband, and one day I didn't come in with a headband. They roasted me so bad on my forehead. Because they were having a bad day, and I became their target, and so it was me against 7 little girls, and I had to sit there and be like, "Oh my God, they're really testing my thick skin right now." But then, I mean, I tell you, they come up with some rough ones. One girl told me, she said, "Coach Don, I can see what you're thinking." Oh, I had to go to the bathroom for like 5 minutes, had to get some tissue. But then we came back and she knocked her routine out the park. So I was like, you know what? I can deal with this. This is, as long as she remembers how great she is, I can laugh at these jokes with her. So it's really just the mental preparation and the self-esteem.
Do you ever have issues dealing with the parents and the parents' level of control over their children's career?
Fortunately, I have not. I've seen it.
Okay.
I've seen it. Most of my girls are not thinking of college and Olympics. It really is just fun and learning their new skills and seeing how far they can go. And that's why I try to keep their mind. Let's see how far you can go. Because one day you may switch and say, I want to go to the Olympics. Then we got to change some things up. But until then, have a good time. So my parents are very supportive. One time it does get difficult is when a child is having a hard time and they haven't learned accountability yet. So you become the scapegoat. And the parents do what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to support their child. And so they take what their child says and come after you. And I'm like, okay, I get that. I love to support your child, but you also have to know your child. If you know your child exaggerates when they're upset, you got to take that into account. If you know they're mad on Monday, but they were best friends on Tuesday, you got to take those things into account. They were probably upset on that day. So I've seen that. That's the worst I've had as a parent coming in and saying, she just thinks you hate her. And I'm like, do you think I hate your child? Like, really, do you think that? And I'm honest, do you think your child thinks that, or is she upset? So, you know, some parents are really sensitive to how their child feels, which is, you know, that makes sense. But I've seen the parents where the minute tuition is paid, they come in making demands of stuff and watching stuff, calling their kid over from practice to tell them to get in there online and get there. You know, it can get bad. You can see when some parents are living their life through their children. I'm fortunate I have great parents. I haven't had to really deal with that at all.
Do you think, with how scrutinized the coaches are in this new era of gymnastics, do you think coaches have become more docile to things, less um, less motivated to actually give corrections because they're so afraid that the girl is gonna feel like I'm yelling at her or being abusive to her? And next thing I know, a whole book is going to be written about me, about I'm an abusive coach, when I'm just trying to correct something that I don't want you to break her neck, so I'm trying to correct this behavior. But how do you feel like some coaches have become a lot more docile to a lot of things?
It depends, I believe. For me, it depends on the aspirations of the coach. If the coach
Mm.
places so many dreams and pressure into that child to be accomplished so they can be accomplished, then yeah, you see, it hurts a lot of coaches to have to kind of tone down. Me and my coaching family, our goal is the success, the happiness, and the joy of the child. And so it's easy for us to take a step back and say, you know what, it's not, you don't have to worry about that. Most of our girls want to push and do more. And I'm saying, well, you know, that's not necessary for this level. You don't have to do that. You don't have to. I have to remind them you're preparing for next year. I love that you want to do it now, but it's not required. How you getting this skill is not going to take me to this competition for them to notice me more. It's not going to have the judges notice you more. They're going to judge the skill. So we spend most of our time calming them down. We don't push. And I work under Miles Avery, and Miles to me is one of the most even toned, even keeled. You never see him high tempered. He has done it all. Olympics 4 times, a college national champion coach. He has done it all. So he's like, listen, there's no stress. There's no pressure. He has no aspirations to having to get back to the Olympics. So he's not pushing his girls to go further than they need to go. So I'm learning a lot just by watching his temperament and how he runs his practices. And it's just that I think because of how his leadership is, it makes it where all the coaches understand that he's not tolerating that. We don't have to push the girls. It's not even docile for us. It's just, is that necessary for the girl? Is it too stressed by it? It's not necessary for her to do it. Let's reduce her stress, remind her to have fun with it. So in our environment, that's not an issue at all. But I do see, especially when I'm in competitions, I can see some coaches that are stressed of a child messing up, and I'm saying, okay, you want it for them so much that it's making you like you want to be up there. So it is how can I say this? It is an environment where the temperament of the coach really will determine a lot.
Mm.
Especially when you're in competitions, it's not just you and that athlete. It's not just you, the athlete, and the judges. Behind you are that child's parents, the teammates' parents, and all the other parents of the team was there. So you can tell when the coach is doing too much. So for the most part, we haven't had that issue at all.
Perfect. So, changing gears again.
Okay.
Um, one of the things that just been coming to me, different people, is going to the SA and gymnastics and all of the abuse and stuff, and like how can adults have not known what was going on in real time? Because if the girls was literally sitting around talking about it, telling me you didn't overhear some things. So, as an adult in this environment in 2025,
Mm-hmm.
my first question is, how do you feel like people really, when they say they did not know, can you give a little bit of insight of, maybe they didn't know. We're not always around when certain things are discussed. Like, can you give a little insight to that? That's question number one. And question number two is, why do you feel like it ran so rampant? Because it happened with Larry NASCAR, but before Larry NASCAR, not even that long before Larry NASCAR, they had Don Peters who was doing the exact same stuff. So it was kind of from from the very first 1984 when Marta and Bella came around till 2016. Like, it was a free for all for the weirdos in gymnastics. Like, can you give a little insight? Like, how do you think all of that happened?
Ooh, that's a lot. I think it's several things. For one, the people that were committing those atrocious crimes they knew what they were doing. They weren't amateurs. They were able to hide what they do behind profession. Like, who am I going to tell a doctor that's not how you examine? I don't know. And then, first of all, people aren't even in the room when that happens. So these people are not amateurs. They're not the family member that's doing the wrong stuff. These are people that have the offer. They can shut the door. They have an assistant. They have a whole protocol that people don't know about but them. So they were professional at being assaulters. And then for people to be around and for it not to know, it's just, That could be a lot of things. It could be people not want to be the person that stops the train to success. They don't want to be that person, especially back then, because now we have all these protocols. Like we have to do an annual safe sport. We have to pass. We have to do all these. So we are educated on not just what to and what not to do, but it's made very, very clear of what your consequences are going to be. That was not made back then. There was no, if they're doing this, we're putting them in prison. We're going to handle that. It was, we don't know what's happening, and now we need these girls to prove it. So now you're putting the word of a 12, especially back then when a national champion could be 12 or 13. You put a 12, 13-year-old's word against this man that's what he does. He's the doctor, so of course you got to put his hands there. No, it's still a way. She should understand what's going on, and if she's not comfortable, then somebody should be allowed to be in there with her, especially her parents. But then you have parents who didn't want to stop. They were afraid they said something, then that child wouldn't get attention, that child would lose coaching, that child would lose opportunities. So it's multifaceted. It was almost like it was a system. It was a system of professional assaulters and unwilling accomplices or unknowing accomplices, and people not want to take on the responsibility of having to fight it if they felt that way. And so now when girls speak out, they know, okay, speak out. This is what happened. And they know they have a whole system behind them to support them. They didn't have that decades ago.
Do you feel like, I mean, I know you don't coach at that level, but do you feel like the dream of the Olympic gold medal or the dream of the NCAA national championship, maybe should be the way we try to encourage people into the sport anymore, because it just seems like people are willing to do anything for these medals that, I mean, I'm not going to say they're not worth it, but it's just like, okay, like for example, I just recently found out, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows because she did it very, very publicly, but that Tatiana Gusu, the 1992 Olympic champion, was raped by the 1992 male Olympic champion, Vitaly Sharapov. And it's like, yeah. And she was so afraid to come out because if she even knew, if she even spoke of it, they were just going to kick her off the team. Like, she was going to be the one to be looked at as the troublemaker. And I just know, especially in the 90s, I know that was a lot of it because they knew if they spoke out, they were going to be made to be looked at as the troublemaker, not the person who actually assaulted them.
Absolutely. And back then, people were not in control of their narrative like they are now. Back then, if she had reported that, then the view of her would have been determined on the newspapers and the news. Now, people actually can get online and say, no, this is what happened.
Correct.
This is what I'm dealing with. This is what was done to me. And here's my friend also. And then there's a community they can build. Back then, it would have been her. It would have been her against the world. Her against the world. And then she would have to been dragged through court. You see what happened with Anita Hill. And Clarence Thomas, like, it's just, they don't believe you. And so, especially for a young child, they look like, what does that child know about that? What do they know about that? How does she know? It would have been so much doubt, and it would have been her against the world. But now these athletes can really control the narrative of their lives. And there's a community of people that say, especially after the Me Too, there's a voice that can be said. And these people can actually stand up and band together. And again, now we have consequences. Even if it's hard for them to prove, once it's out there, the person has to deal with repercussions, period. So yeah, the narrative for the gymnasts now is much more in control for themselves than it was decades ago.
Why does it feel like, well, this is my opinion, I'm just going to ask you how you feel about my opinion. It feels like when it comes to punishment, when it comes to abuse and stuff, it feels like the women coaches get it the hardest. They're used as a scapegoat, whereas the male coaches, they get a slap on the wrist, they get put on punishment for a year or two, then get right back allowed to coach again. My example is, why is Rhonda Fain not allowed to coach but then Valerie
Yeah,
Mukin can take Effie Rivera to the Olympics. Why is
yeah,
I mean Maggie Haney had her punishment or whatever that she had to go through, but then Al Fong, nothing ever happened to him. He never had to go through. He literally killed some people. Like, why does it feel like, at least with USA Gymnastics, they go so
mhm,
hard after the women, but then the males, it's like, oh, okay.
yeah. Wow. And see when you put so many names to it, because you are right. I think Maggie just got off suspension like recently, and you're right about Rhonda Fain. I haven't seen her since. And then Valeria was right back at Woga like the next year. Yeah, you're right. I saw those things. Again, I don't know the ins and outs, so I didn't know what happened. It's just one of those things where it's like it's a patriarchy, but it's almost like a power thing. I'm not reputation wise. I don't know if because like the men, they could have been bigger names for. It's that's a hard thing to say. It's got to be a power thing, a reputation thing. It's who got to be who you know. It's got to be who you know. Yeah, that's ooh, yeah, that was a very good question. Because now that you're saying I'm thinking, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see it a lot. Yeah, yeah, it's got to be a power
Even like
reputation thing.
Tom Barton from Utah, who got fired from Utah for literally throwing stuff and yelling at the girls, got hired right around at I think Twin Stars, not as the head coach but as a coach. Whereas if the same situation happened in the where it was the woman, I don't think she would be allowed to even show her face in the gymnastics community again. It's like they punish the women so much harder than they punish the men for very similar offenses.
Mhm. Yeah, and see, I can't even have an opinion against your opinion because that looks factual. That doesn't even seem like an opinion. That's like that's happened. Yeah, and like I really haven't thought about it. I just noticed those things. I'm thinking, maybe they've gone on with their lives. Maybe they don't want to come back out, but they have been punching the women harder. That is true. That's a great. That's why you do your thing, girl, because you know it. Like I want you to catch up, but not just you asking that question. I'm just like, because I liked Rhonda. I mean, I was already a Florida fan, but she made me a Florida fan. She truly did, and I loved their run. And when she moved up to USAG, I was happy for her. And then even when all the stuff crumbled, like she really wasn't even her name really wasn't even brought up as anything to do with it. She was just associated. And they say, well, she knew. And I'm like, how could she prove she didn't know him? And then nothing. I haven't seen her since. And yeah, and then yep, Larry's already a Woga. Yeah. Yeah. Go girl. You own it.
On to more positive things. On to more positive things. Let's talk
Mhm.
about you and going to nationals. What are you looking forward to? What do you hope to happen this go round? Do you have any goals for your team? Let's talk about it.
Oh, great. Yes. So this is my first year with Osega. I just moved here to Asheville 8 months ago. I moved here to work with Miles. And so it's my first year in NGA. I've always been USAG. So I'm in NGA this year. So it's my first NGA Nationals. So I'm excited to see how they do it, how it runs. Um, I feel very strongly my girls are going to do very well, even though their confidence and their self esteem is low because of a small little fall or a small little wobble. I think they're going to go there and perform because they've done it all season. Um, I think I'm going to have some great surprises. I'm looking forward to them getting there and locking in and truly showing what they're capable of, and hopefully learning and proving to themselves how good they are. But I mean, I could tell them all, hey, to me, you're one of the best girls in the country. But they won't believe it unless they have a national title. And I'm just like, you, period. You are. You won every meet we've gone to. Your only competition is really you and your teammates. So y'all are great, but it's one of those things where they have to have the title in their hand, and just to say that they ranked nationally will be such a joy. Like I really, last nationals I went to was a couple of years ago in Savannah, and I left for 13 national all around champions. So I'm just excited to see how I do in this organization. And see how they
Have
do. So
you ever
and it's
had
at Virginia Beach, so I'm excited for that too.
Have you ever coached a gymnast to the NCAA level?
Not yet, not yet. I've worked with one actually, Addie Fulcher.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. She was from my gym in Gastonia, First and Flight, and I worked with her for like a day, and really I didn't work with her. I worked with her for like 10 minutes because she was doubting herself. Her coach was like, "No, you're a great motivator. You talk so great to the kids. Just hang out with her for a little bit." So I just hung out with her, just gave her some encouragement, and next thing I know, she was over the block she was having. So I gave like a 10-minute contribution. So every time I see her on TV, like I worked with her. Addie Fulcher, yeah. So she is the closest I've come to have an athlete go that will. She's as far as she's gone so far, like, and she's one of the sweetest kids. She had a great family too. Their family is just a great family, and so just watching her and Elka do so well, it really just showed me that me choosing to go there when I first started coaching was a great place to start. I would love to get somebody in the NCAA. That would be great.
What are your big goals? Like, what do you want? Like, do you want to coach a girl to the NCAA? Do you want to coach a girl in the league? Do you want to? Like, what are your goals for your coaching career?
My biggest goal is to be a coach at the level where if I got a girl that wanted to go there, I'm able to teach her, whether she gets there or not. I want to just have that. I want to have that knowledge that if that's her dream, I can help her get there. I have the desire and the will and the motivation to help her get as far as she can. I'm just wanting to learn because this is not a college-based career. You have to get in there. You got to learn. You got to go through the trials and tribulations. You have to watch the kid grow, go through injuries, and move up, and hopefully you can move up with them. So that's one reason I started working with Miles because he has that experience. And so I'm just soaking up what I can. I'm around him. And my biggest goal is just to be, not to go to the Olympics, but to be an Olympic level coach. That if somebody's dreaming to go to the Olympics, I'm someone they choose to help get them there.
Oh, that's beautiful. I really like that. I really like that.
But if I never get to go, I'll just be an enthusiast watching on TV. I'll be happy with that too.
How do you learn the code of points for each different? You just sit there and read the book and just figure it out, or
listen. Listen, I just when I think I have it, just when you think you got it, especially because they change every 4 years. But it's like reading hieroglyphics. Like you'll look at it, and I've seen I talk to the judges all the time because I'm always trying to learn. And so I'm saying, well, can you help me? This is my first year. This is my first year teaching your chinkos. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I'll go to the judge and I said, what do I need to do? What can I help her with? She said, oh, she'll pull her sheet over, and I'm looking like, what is that? Like it's just like so I'm actually learning the code of points. The best thing to do, they have like cheat sheets that they give us, and it's basically just giving the requirements for each level. So you just start with the basics and you move up, you learn as much as you can, you soak it up. But the biggest way to learn is going and take judging courses. Eventually I'm going to take those. I know that it helped me become a better coach. But oh yeah, it's just when you think you have it. Just when you think you have it, it's just I've gotten pretty good. I've watched this for so long, thanks to Dominique Dawes, that I have an eye for it. I can almost tell what skill a girl's going to do just by how she runs up to the skill. And then, but just when I think I have the deductions right, they'll say, well, no, right here, she took a breath in the middle of the air. I'm like, what? Like, where'd that 10th come from? So it's one of those things that it's tough. So I'm going to have to take some kind of course.
What was the hardest rule change for you to just get adjusted to? Like, you just could not. Like,
the hardest rule change. Honestly, not even one specifically. Any rule that took the difficulty level down off being, like whatever change they made, where the girl. Because when I look at the routines from the '90s, which is the best era, to now, these girls now couldn't compete with Estella Ume.
No,
at all. And I'm like, Stella Ume says my favorite combination next to the triple step out from Dominique and Shannon. And I'm like, these girls today, like, I would love for Simone to do it, but what's the point? She's not going to be rewarded for it because we know how they do that. But it's like, whatever they did to change it, I know they have more skills, but it's nothing like a good series. Like when I'm watching NCAAs and the girl does a triple series, that's like a blessing from heaven.
I completely, especially if you grew up in the 90s where most girls ended their beam routine with a full end. Like that, if you wanted a medal at the Olympics or Worlds, you was going to discount with a full end.
Yeah,
now, they get away with lesser things. And, but I do also understand that in today's, they put a lot of value in the dance skills. And back in those days, they wasn't doing those leaps and stuff right. So
So it's like I love the leaps. Yes, I do. But I love a good series. And the sad part is I really haven't seen the good towards your take half since Tasha was doing it on Beam.
yeah, I know.
01, 02. She was like one of the last people I've seen do that. And I think one girl's in college.
Well, Anaba Bosu at this European Championship did one.
I'm watching that right now, so I might be coming up on that. Because I like her. I'm loving her rejuvenating the Romanian program. Yeah, I'm looking for them to come back.
So let's talk about today's gymnastics. What's going on in today's modern era? Have you been watching any other competitions? What are your opinions on anything that's happened this year?
I love I still love it. I would like to see more combination. I think a combination tumbling pass on floor, not just like a 2.5 to a punch front, like whip, double punch, like anything with a combination pass. I think that should be required for everybody's tumbling passes. I love the big skills. I love that girls are doing bigger things, but the intricacy of gymnastics is what we're missing a lot. Just the 2 whips through to a 2.5 punch front, or the whip connected to a 2.5. I do love the artistry of it. There's a lot more dancing to it now. People are getting better with their presentation. Vault needs some work. I think they expected, especially with the chip being introduced, like in 2003, I think it was 2003 or 2002. They expected everybody to be doing vaults like Simone is, but we still have vaults is just not too big.
Vault, especially this season, Don. Like vault has really regressed a lot. Like a lot around the, and I thought it was just in the NCAA, but no, it's around the world. It's like
absolutely.
It's like the girls are like, and I think it's the start values. I think like it's not worth it to do harder vaults if it's just 0.4 more, and then you're gonna lose that 0.4 in deductions in the air. So it's not. I think vault is the event that the open code hurts the most because it doesn't make any sense to like. If you're gonna say it's an open code, where then bigger vaults should score way bigger than other, but then it becomes unfair because you can just do a hard vault and win. So
right. And I think that going back to that question about the rule changes, I think really hurt. Only doing one vault. I would love to see girls having to do an average of 2.
I think that's the answer to vault. Like make the girls do 2 vaults. Like. Yeah, you can do it armor, but what you gonna do for your second vault, girl?
Right. What you got? If you're that good,
what you gonna do for that second vault, girl?
Right, exactly. And I think that will bring out, especially because I think the girls are training 1 vault and they're like, okay, that's it, that's all I need. I'm like, but there's so much, like bring out the creativity. Where, like I love like when a girl does a front handspring onto the table, like in NCAA, like it's so rare. That it's fun to watch. I don't care if she does a double tuck out of it. She needs to get a high score for that because it's so original and it's so hard to do. And I'm sick of seeing fools, like especially on the world stage. Like I get it, and you got to have some weight and power, but you like I think the young lady from Esposito she has a 1.5, and so at one point in time you couldn't do a 1.5. After Nastia, you couldn't do a 1.5 and win all around. Yeah, but now that's because I was watching the girls from the U.S. and most of them are doing 1.5s.
Most of them are doing, and see for the Americans it makes sense to me, but for the rest of the world it don't, because for the Americans, they have the NCAA that they're looking forward to, so then they know they need a Yurchiko 1.5 for the NCAA, so they're it makes sense. But for the rest of the world, I'm just like. Right.
You can't do that.
China, not my China. My boots in China. Them girls are vaulting. They're learning Rudy. They're learning Tsukahara doubles. Like China has improved a lot on vault.
Yeah, those two. Yeah, because there's a twist and vault. Yeah, they get those twists in there because they'll barely get a block and pull that double around. I'm just like, sheesh, they are just spinning because there was no height, but they'll pull it around. I think I forgot to watch the Chinese nationals. I forgot to push play. But I'm about to go back and look now because now you got me curious about those vaults because that's one thing that held them back for so long.
I have them on my Twitter page if you want to watch them.
Okay, I'm going backwards. I'm going to go look. I know you got it.
Final question, because I promised you it was going to be an hour, and I promised, because Lord knows I could be on here for 101 hours talking to you. But
It's all good. It's all good.
with the rise of the black gymnast
Mhm.
on the elite level, how do you feel like finally in 2025 we're ready for black gymnasts to be themselves without having to try to whitewash themselves and not wear their hair in certain hairstyles and not dress certain ways to cover certain. Like, do you think that now, like around the world, the black gymnast is finally like, oh yeah, she's just gonna have a different body. She's just gonna have a little bit of a booty. It's just what a black girl is just gonna be built like. We accept it now because the black girls around the world are really starting to take over gymnastics.
Yeah, they truly have. We truly have. Um, that is that has a lot of moving parts to it. In order
Okay.
for the black girls to, we're not really going to say represent themselves, but be able to uh, live in more black culture in the sport, they would have to have the whole system around them. They would need to have a coach that understands our movement, because it blows my mind that we don't have a lot of African beats on floor routines. I think one young lady had one years ago, and every time those drums came on, I was on it. I can't remember her name. I need to look that up. But you need to have the right coaching. You need to have a choreographer that understands how you move and how you feel. And then to get on the world stage, unfortunately for us on the world stage, our culture is not completely understood or deemed classical enough.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm, Only because it would only take one ignorant person to say, "Oh, I love this hip hop," a broadcaster. That's all it would take. Well, this must be hip hop, or she's great making it ratchet, and that would just completely take away from all the hard work she's done. So it would have to be done so well, like a Darion Goburn.
Uh huh.
They wouldn't as much as we live for it in college. She couldn't take that overseas. They wouldn't
No.
get it. They wouldn't understand her.
They literally made Jordan Childs change her NCAA first team 1 year to her elite first team because they were like, yeah, that's too.
How they gonna make you change a song that has no lyrics? Like, were there gunshots in the song? Like, what was it about her song? But to them, it deemed too black somehow. And so, like, because even like Nia, she was at UCLA before Jordan came. Nia Dennis. How Beyonce as her floor routine was, she couldn't take that overseas. But yet I've seen the other girl, like Rebecca does Beyonce. But hers it looks like a Brazilian version. So it's cultural, and Brazilian culture is not African American culture. That makes sense.
Correct. And no, that makes complete sense because I hate to say this, but I've said it all the time. I'm realizing that around the world, black Americans are looked at the way the Latino community look at the Mexicans.
Mexicans.
Like
I'm
we're the
actually having
worst
that
of the
conversation with
black
people.
people. Yeah.
I worked at the airport, and I actually had Hispanic friends who actually told me that Mexicans are the Latinos, and I was like, wow, how dare y'all? First of all, but yeah, you're exactly right, and it's man, it just be see it around the world. It just would not be respected. It would not be even like what that young lady said years ago. Oh, I guess I should pick change my skin color black to win something, and that was just Simone being Simone. So unfortunately for us, we are not seen as equals even when we're on the top. And so our culture will not be as accepted.
Absolutely, because I will say this again, I'm gonna keep saying it. In 2023, I think Charlize Jones came out with one of the most artistic routines that I've ever seen anybody ever do. But they don't give her the same credit as being artistic, like they would give somebody like Mustafina or
Mhm.
whoever else you want to
Right.
put in.
Because she doesn't have that classical look. She doesn't look like she would have to be that graceful. She doesn't look like she would be that elegant because she has muscles and she's black. So yeah, but yes, absolutely. I want her to have her time so badly because she was amazing. She is amazing. So I'm excited to see what she's working. She's putting some work in, and I just need first to be ready for 28. I just need her ready for 28.
I just need Charlize to compete as little as possible until the Olympics happen again.
Yeah.
Give me one competition a year.
Right. We'll be on pins and needles.
And call it. That's it.
Every landing, we're like, okay, she good, okay. Every landing, just be nervous. Yeah, she's like our baby now. We have to protect her. Yeah, and I'm still not ruling out Simone coming back. I know.
I think it depends if her and Jonathan wants to try to have a baby or not.
That's it. If she's not pregnant in 27 in the U.S., if they are struggling at all as far as teams concerned in 26, 27.
In this new era in gymnastics, maybe having a baby isn't a stop for people. Like
no, especially not for Simone. Chelsea Millman came back at 32.
So I mean, if she had the baby in 26, got her body back in 27, got ready for the Olympics in 28.
She'd be ready. Because she can still be the third best on the team and still be a major contributor. Just on vault alone.
Just on vault and floor, alone. Mm-hmm. I think Simone won that beam medal that she never gets. Well, I
think so too. And yeah, I don't think she'll be happy with. I mean, she doesn't mind. She does not. She's happy and she's proud of Rebecca for a gold medal. That was her last competition, last on floor. Her first time ever losing on floor internationally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she'll come back and get that, and I would be okay with it because she is just remarkable. I have not ruled that out yet.
Do you think it's any hope that we'll see Gabby compete?
Yeah, no, it's because she may not have the record that Simone has, but she has that same kind of drive and determination. And how she ended, she's not gonna be happy with because she put in some good work and she looked amazing. And unfortunately, for the elite level, they don't get as many competitions to hone their skills like NCAA. So I can see her coming back. Absolutely, they're the same age. She's really only a few months. 4 months older. Simone was not like just a big difference. So if she put the time in, I think she could come back. I would love to see her come back and make these kids work for her because the age of the 16-year-old national champion, I think, is gone. It's these girls that's 20 plus is going to be running it. So why not? If she up there, she's 28, 29, she still got it. You see, the young lady, I could say it's still going at 48. So if they healthy, I would love to see it. And if anybody could do it, those two could.
Well, Fran, I don't want to keep you much longer. I know you're just not getting in. I thank you for taking this time out of your life for coming and spending it with me. You're more than welcome to get on anytime you want to talk about something or rant about something or something that's making you mad in the sport. Just hit me up and I'll make time. I will make time.
Absolutely. It's been such an honor. I've never, this is like a dream come true because just to be a coach and to be interviewed and talked to just for my insight, that's an honor, because I'm one in a million. So thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure, and I would look forward to do it again.
Thank you. All right, everybody. This is the show for today. I appreciate everybody for tuning in with us. We've had a lot of gymnastics going on this weekend. We had Euros, we added the team. We tried to cover that to the best of our ability. And next weekend, added to saying it's Asian Championships. And y'all know I want to see Japan versus China. So I'm going to be all in on that. So I love you all so very much. I would try to give y'all a podcast with the Love Gymnastics podcast with me, Oscar, Shayna, and them probably Monday or Tuesday. And I will see you guys later on. Bye. Bye, Coach Don. Thank you, love.